And then what can you do from home? You can't show up to every single hearing you might care about. So make sure you're giving support to the people who can go. Tell other people about it. Say, hey, I can't go to this one. How about you go this week? I'll go next week. You don't have a car? Fine. Why don't you take my car and I'll use your car around town. You can take my car to Austin. I'll find somebody to pay for gas. I'll help you prepare testimony. Whatever the needs are, maybe you don't have time, but you have gas money. Maybe you don't have time to go, but you can help somebody prepare. You can help them get appropriate clothes. You can watch their kids. You can loan them a tablet and a tripod. Whatever the thing is that helps other people be able to go, try to team up together. It's awesome to carpool. It's definitely so much nicer to have a whole group of people there rather than just one or two. If you need to step out of the room to grab some food, that way one person can stay there and text you and be like, hey, it's getting ready to end. You better get over here if you want to testify. Because that happens. I've stepped out of a room for a conversation and missed a whole entire bill and not been able to testify on it, even though I went for it. So again, more people there is good, but use your resources and pool them to get the best possible result. And then this is the time to wake up if you were asleep. So the 3 things you cannot fail to do for any issue you care about. Number 1, come to a committee hearing, or make sure enough people actually do come to a hearing. And like I said, that is so crucial and so important in my book to make sure you do. Number 2, call. Now, why do I keep on kind of bringing this up about how hearings are so important but also make the phone calls? Well, you got to get the bill to the actual point of having a hearing, because it wouldn't do any good if you're all ready to go to the hearing and then it just gets blocked and never gets scheduled for a hearing, right? So at the beginning of the 2015 Leg session, a newly elected Lieutenant Governor Patrick, who's in charge of the Senate, he made a public statement to the effect of, we're going to be so pro-gun, we're going to be the most pro-gun Senate, I love guns. My paraphrase, okay? So basically, we're going to be pro-gun, and we're going to pass campus carry this year because we need to do it. But you know what? As far as open carry, yeah, Texas just isn't ready for open carry. We're just not ready for it yet. We want to be pro-gun, but Texas isn't ready for this yet. Well, we begged to differ. And we flooded his office with hundreds, if not thousands, of phone calls and over a period of like a day or 2, and dropped off thousands of petitions already made up at his office saying, hey, here are Texans who actually believe Texas is ready for open carry, for licensed open carry. Actually, we're ready for more, but at least give us this. And what happened is a few days later, he made another public statement saying, you know what, we've come a long way and we're organized, and I think the time is right for licensed open carry in Texas. So what does that tell you? I don't think Texas changed that much in 3 days. I think it was political winds that he became aware that changed, right? So that's what a flood of phone calls can do. But it needs to be that effective. As far as just a phone call, it needs to be coordinated, it needs to be very strategic at the times when it really matters, when you're at a choke point, when a bill's getting ready to die, when you really need to get it moving along quickly. And so number 2 is make those phone calls when you need to. And then how are you going to know when to show up to a hearing? How are you going to know when it's strategic to make a flood of phone calls happen? Well, that's number 3. You got to connect. You have to get action alerts from an organization that is tracking with your issue. So what I'm going to ask you to do right now is pull out your cell phone. I know you have it. And if you're on your phone listening right now instead of your computer, you can jot down this number and text me later or send me an email. But I want you to, here's the email address as well as the phone number right here. So please, everybody who's listening, I need to hear from you. I can see I have 19 participants right now. I want to hear from I need to get 19 texts or emails within the next 15 minutes. There's no reason why you shouldn't do this. I want you to tell me your name, your phone number, and your email address, and preferably your full mailing address or at least your zip code. And please let me know that you would like to opt in for Gun Owners of America alerts. And I will add you to the GOA email list, and that way you will know when you need to make a bunch of phone calls, when you need to show up for a gun rights hearing. You'll get that information. So please, and this is where I am more at a loss, because typically I'll have these sign-in sheets and I come and do these events in person. I'm able to interact with people and exchange contact information so that I'm able to help you with this. Since I'm not there with you, just do me a favor, act like we're having that personal one-on-one conversation. Pull out your cell phone, send me a text right now. It's as easy as that, and I will hook you up with those alerts, and I will make sure that you get the information you need to when you need it. If you are also interested in joining GOA, I know there are a lot of your members, your party members who are members of GOA, and I appreciate that. We'd appreciate a donation. You can go directly on the GOA website and make your donation. It's $20 for a year-long annual membership, or if you want to just donate $5 or $10 in appreciation of their supporting this issue, that'd be great. But I really appreciate GOA's efforts to inform the grassroots. And they believe in the kind of lobbying that connects with the legislators, but that also connects with the grassroots, because at the end of the day, I'm doing what the grassroots want. I'm not doing what the special interests corporations want. It's what I'm trying to do is help get what the constituents want as far as pro-gun issues, and help the people of Texas to live more free and secure the blessings of liberty for our posterity. So please don't hesitate. Please do that. And with that, I will be happy to take any questions.
Okay, we have a couple questions. Dustin asked, with the testimony, do you find appeal to emotion or emotional testimony can be useful as useful as facts?
They're different. They're very different. So it's kind of proven that people make decisions based on emotion, but they validate them based on facts. So I'll decide I really want to eat this thing, and I'll make up facts, or I'll hand pick my facts to help validate my decision. That's kind of the way people operate. Legislators deal a little bit more with facts, so they understand a little more than just, anybody walking up the street doing something else. That they understand that in that line they have to have some kind of facts to base it up. I'd say they serve a different purpose. Like, a lot of times the anti-gun people will come in with just an emotional appeal of, I hate guns and I'm scared of them and my kid died, or I know somebody's kid who died, or kids over here died, so please get rid of guns. There's not really a logical train, but there's a lot of emotion, and it's very compelling. The emotion can be very, very compelling. That's the thing that sticks in legislators' minds. I remember this woman. I'm helping this person. Because they all, at the end of the day, want to be able to say they helped somebody, right? Like, I'm helping this woman, and I'm helping her kids. So coming up with both, I think, is so critical. You have the logical train. You're not just, I'm a woman, so listen to me because I'm a woman. You're saying, this is true, this is how, but also this is how it's important. And at the end of the day, you can give them all the facts for something, but if you don't show them why this is more important and more urgent and helps their constituents more than the 500 other things they have on their desk, they're not going to prioritize it. So you really have to do both. They serve different purposes.
Okay. Also, Vineet asks, I think I'm going to paraphrase it here. What is the best way to target these different districts, the representatives' districts? What's the best way to target their voters to be able to make an impact, to be able to get others within a district together and make something happen?
Show up and be a part of the community and start being a trusted member of the community. So there are kind of two approaches. If your organization already has lists of a lot of people who are active members of your group in that area, then all you need to do is, connect the zip codes. Like I told you, you find the zip code list of that area and connect with the zip codes on your list, and voila, you got your list, and you call those people and personally connect with them and say, hey, you robocall them or email or text them, personally text them, or personally call them is even better, and communicate to them. If you don't already have a huge list of people in the area, then you can, definitely putting it out on social media. You can even target to somebody's district with Facebook ads. Just make sure you're being strategic. A lot of the mistake I see about those ads is, you might sit there and say, oh, I think this thing is just so important. I can't see why anybody wouldn't agree with me. And you put it out there, and people are like, so what? I don't care about that. So you have to find some way to make it compelling for them, like communicate the thing that they care about, which may be phrasing it a little bit different than the thing that you care about. well, there are examples, but I think you get the point. The other way is just be active in your community. Like show up to community events that are likely to have a lot of people who care about that same issue. So I probably don't have to give examples. You can kind of think creatively. Okay, if it's a super conservative issue, and I hate using the conservative liberal labels, but for the sake of discussion, if it's a super conservative issue, and you probably wouldn't want to show up to some super liberal group because you're not going to have people agree with you. But show up to some group, whether it's churches, reach out to pastors and see if they want to. Some pastors do, some pastors don't. Reach out to conservative clubs in the area, to other organized groups, and see if you can connect with them and partner with them.
Okay. Also, we have a question. Do you have any favorite methods to identify potential legislators to sponsor or support your cause?
That would be sponsoring a bill or filing a bill, and I already went through that. So listen to the video, rewind it a little ways back. We went through all the ways of meeting with legislators and looking up past bills that they filed, and seeing what they supported. I mean, it's looking at their records. Find a bill that's similar to that issue, particularly one that got a floor vote or and you can see who voted for it, who voted against it, but also just see who signed on to it. Because a lot of times, if people vote for it on the floor, that usually just means they thought it was politically expedient. But if they actually signed their name onto it kind of early on, then they probably actually really support it. So that's a good way of identifying them.
Yeah, and I would add to that too, finding some single issue groups like gun owners or Texas Right to Life or some of these groups. When legislation comes up, they're going to identify it and let you know that there are bills out there. There are people that are trying to get things happening. So keep an eye on those organizations as well. Try to find them, plug into them as well to get some information.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, look at their districts. Look at the demographics of their districts. There are some issues that appeal a lot more to rural voters, some that appeal a lot more to urban voters. Look at their last election. Did they almost lose it? If so, is there any obvious reason? If they almost lost their last election, they're going to be skittish, and they're going to. But some things you might be able to convince them, hey, this helps you to gain more support. Other things are going to be like, no, I don't want to touch that because I'm afraid my district won't like it. So look strategically. I mean, if you're looking for people who are going to jump out and champion it, do that. Obviously, I still believe in going to everybody and saying, I don't care. This is the right thing to do. Do it. At the end of the day, I do believe in that also.
Yeah. If there's any more questions, now's a good time to get them asked.
Yep.
We'll give a couple more minutes here for anything else anybody may have.
Mm-hmm.
Rachel,
if any of y'all, I want to say one thing. If any of y'all are coming to Austin, I mean, if it's a group, that's awesome. If it's like a carload, like 3 or 4 people you bring from your area, let me know when you're coming, and I'll take you to the Capitol and walk you around. Like I'm going to be there most of the spring, so let me do that for you.
Rachel, in the whole process of a bill moving forward, as it's moving into the Senate and what it's doing in the Senate, in our state, the lieutenant governor has a tremendous amount of power. Is there a way that we can influence the lieutenant governor as well to make sure that some of these issues are getting through, some of these bills? What's the best way to really get to him, to influence him?
I think we saw it. Like I said, is that flood of phone calls. Make a lot of public statements about it. Floods of phone calls, but the more public about it you can be, the better. I think that's another reason why the actual public hearings are a little more effective than just a private meeting, because you can't hide what was said. If you go to a private meeting, they can try to talk you down, and nobody's ever going to know what was said there. But if it's public, there's a video of that. So the more publicly you can do. I mean, professionally, I'm not saying you denigrate them because then you just make yourself look stupid, but put the word out there, go comment on their posts, tag them in posts, floods of phone calls, call their office and ask to meet with their legislative staff about the issue. Even if they say, no, we don't have time, tell them the issue you want to meet about and tell them you're willing to drive to Austin for it. And if they realize you have that willingness, that says a lot. Oh, there are a lot of people asking about this. Maybe we should think about, maybe supporting it more.
Vineet has a question here, and I'm going to kind of expand on his question here. He's asking about private meetings, but in addition to private meetings, I'll even say into these committee meetings or other meetings we may have with legislators, can anyone audio or video record covertly or overtly?
And the hearings?
He's asking specifically for private meetings. I would expand that to other things as well.
Sorry. You're breaking up a little bit. You're breaking up a little bit. I can't quite hear what you're saying.
All right. In private meetings with these legislators, can anyone audio or video record covertly or overtly, or what's the best way to be able to record them?
I mean, can you? Do you have a recorder that can do it covertly? Then I guess you can. Is it advisable? It's. I mean, depending on what you're going to do with it. If you do it covertly, that can do it in a way that is ethically sound. I don't really want to get into too many details. I generally take one of two approaches. Either I come in with my recorder, I'd say, hey, do you mind if I record this? I might have it already running at that point, or I might have an auxiliary already running at that point. And if they say no, then, okay, I just met with so-and-so, he refused to go on record, but, and I can put that information out there. If I'm going to do it covertly, that's usually just for my own benefits. I'm usually just, maybe I want to recall later in case my notes are poor, but I'm not necessarily going to put the recording out publicly. But if I've gotten permission, then I would definitely not hesitate to put that out publicly.
Yeah, and I think if you are going to try to use that information, it would be best to try to politely let them know you're recording them. And,
yeah, I don't see anything wrong with that, though. I mean,
yeah.
And definitely if it's at a town hall meeting or a club meeting or something, I'll live stream those or record them and put them out, because that's public. Anybody can show up to it. You don't need to ask permission to put that out.
Yeah, and Vineet replied here again that Texas is a one-party state. If one party to the interaction is okay, one can record. And,
yeah, so I mean, I wasn't. Yes, there's a legal aspect and there's like a ethically advantageous aspect. I mean, it depends on a lot of different situations. There may be some situations. I mean, I know there are situations where people have gone into clinics and covertly recorded and put information out that needed to be out there. If you're going to make a habit of that, you end up destroying trust. Decide if that's worth it to you. Maybe it is, but make that decision.